turning point for me when I realized that the ignorance in this world is
Right.
unbelievable. Because just earlier in my pitch, I had told that how 12 million girls are actually subject to this for modern day slavery.
Welcome to 20-Minute Leaders. Just sit back, relax, and learn from the leaders of today. It's a journey. Each one is different, unique, inspiring. Let's get started. This episode is powered by J Ventures, a community-driven VC fund in Silicon Valley, and is sponsored by Leumi Tech, Hippo Insurance, Turing, Upwist Labs, and Hillel at Stanford. I just love the intersection of AI and social impact. Meet Anna Juusela, the CEO and founder of We Encourage. Anna is an entrepreneur with 10 plus years of experience in the retail sector as a teacher and a consultant in the field of trends, profitability, and marketing. Her ambition and interest in future trends and new technologies, as well as her vision and determination to prevent forced marriages and empower women, led her to build an impact startup, We Encourage. They build a conversational AI tool for the victims of domestic violence and a fundraising platform for causes empowering women and girls.
Anna Juusela, thank you for joining me all the way from Finland. How are you?
Thank you. I'm doing good, enjoying the snow finally here, and my kids are enjoying that too. And I'm happy to be here. Thank you for the invitation.
Of course. I always love talking to people that, the work that they're doing is inspiring. Their journey is also inspiring. And I think that your transition from fashion to retail to now, really a startup and trying to grow a community and growing technological solutions to help level the playing field and help women and girls around the world with all sorts of the issues that you'll describe to me soon. I think it's inspiring, but your overall conversation and discussion about what it takes to really start something and go against the fears, I think is just as inspiring. So Anna, start us off. Tell me a little bit about yourself. How do you get started with your journey all the way back from when you were studying fashion?
Thank you. Yes, it's quite interesting story even for myself because I never thought about doing anything like this. So the women empowerment, of course, it has always been quite natural and self-evident for me because as a Finnish lady, I am very accustomed to the gender equality and it's kind of like natural for me. But I was also very passionate about the retail, about visual merchandising. I actually teach visual merchandisers how to measure the effectiveness of those displays and for the retailers, why stock management is so important and how it affects on the overall profitability and such. So it was quite interesting when I saw the documentary about an Afghan girl who wanted to be a rapper. And the long story short, the documentary maker ended up buying Sonita free from her own family because they were forcing her into marriage. And her story ended nicely. She's now studying music in the United States and then she's rapping against child marriages. But it was a turning point for me. I got so frustrated and angry and started to think that how are we still living in year 2016 in a world where girls are being forced into marriage? And of course, things are not that simple, but basically the amount that she was kind of freed from her family was just $2,000. And I started to think that how on earth we are doing something about it. If it's just about the money, as it's basically kind of like when you go down to the roots of all, it's basically because the families don't have enough money to raise the child, which is a girl. And I started to think that what if we could use people's money to purchase these girls free? And it was kind of like the starting point. Of course, it's kind of like not that simple and not that easy and not that straightforward, but it was kind of like the starting point. And back in those days, I got very, very interested in blockchain and artificial intelligence, what's happening in that sphere, how it's affecting on retail and things like this. And I started to think that what if we just use blockchain, create a smart wallet for donors and a smart wallet for the family and the girl, and we could use this peer-to-peer incentivizing system so that it would become economically more beneficial for the families to actually keep the girl at school, so they could get a monthly payment for keeping the girl at school. And
Interesting.
with just a small amount, like 25 euros, we could actually per month, we could actually keep the girl at school in those very low economic countries. And that's kind of like stuck in my head that it took a few years for me to actually clear the fear out of my system to actually start doing something about this issue. I kept the idea inside of me and was thinking that when I'm 50 years old, then and successful woman, then I can start doing something about this. But kind of my world decided differently, and I started kind of moving towards the idea. And I had been learning when I was investigating the blockchain and seeing what's happening there. I noticed that there is this association in Finland, and I joined one of their meetings and told about my idea to a couple of guys over there, and they were telling me that that's an awesome idea. You should go and pitch that into a blockchain summit that's coming up in a couple of weeks. And of course, I was very, very new to all of this. And I was like, okay, what's pitching? I have no idea. And of course, I had to learn about it. And I Googled and drafted the pitch and went on the stage after a couple of weeks, and the worst thing happened to me. And the first jury member started laughing at me and telling me that how stupid are you, that who would marry off their who would force their daughters into marriage. And
Wow.
that was quite turning point for me when I realized that the ignorance in this world is
Right.
unbelievable. Because just earlier in my pitch, I had told that how 12 million girls are actually subject to this for modern day slavery. So 33,000 girls per day. And now, considering the
Wow.
coronavirus, it's even increasing. So that was kind of like the starting
Wow.
point. Luckily, the other jury member opened his network and he encouraged me to kind of like take this forward. And then I was in the crossroads, kind of, do I continue with my current company and build my entrepreneurial journey in the retail sphere, or do I take a leap of faith and start doing something that it's very, very risky, without no knowledge about startup world, without no understanding of coding or the development, but start utilizing technology to empower women. So that's kind of like my story in very short, in a nutshell.
Unbelievable. Well, first of all, I think that it takes a lot of courage, and I think that that's already inspiring as its own. And what I'd love to hear from you a little bit more is about this, this insight that you have into this horrible marketplace that you're describing, right? I mean, usually when we talk about companies and startups, we talk about these great marketplaces where you have the seller, you have the buyer, or you have the driver and the rider, right? In terms of transportation, well, here you have a really sort of nasty marketplace where you have the people who are forcing their children, their girls, into marriage, and the buyers are sort of funding this family, and it all stems from this economic inequality, this economical gap, because I'm guessing no parent wants to force their child into marriage, but they might have to do it out of necessity if there is just no other option for them to put food on the table, right? So you're coming in and saying, well, how about we open up this marketplace and we provide an alternative solution so that we can don't have to go on these horrible acts. how do you go about thinking about this alternative solution and thinking, how does this actually tangibly play out?
Yes, that was actually kind of the most important and interesting part of the whole journey, because considering that all my networks, all my knowledge, all my experience and expertise was on the retail, and all of the sudden I was there having this very kind of big urge to do something about this matter. And what I had to do first, of course, I needed to start studying the whole thing. What's happening? I had all my own thoughts and ideas that what's the situation, but of course I had to dig deeper. And I started to doing research. What's happening? How are things going? What's the cultural aspects? What are the cultural and religious aspects in this? And I joined in different places where I could learn more about impact and creating impact, and how do you do the change in these types of cases. And I learned that, of course, it's not going to be easy. It's not kind of like something that I can just do quickly, and there is no quick fix. It's going to be a long time journey. And what I realized is that this is not something that it's happening actually over there. I was naive and I thought that it's kind of like the third world problem. But I realized that these are the same issues that are happening in Western world also for the girls from certain cultural background. They are facing the same issues even here in Finland. So girls are disappearing from schools. They are going through FGM, and there are different types of cultural and religious traditions that follow them no matter where they live. And I realized that it's not something that I can kind of consider of doing somewhere out there, but I have to realize and understand that it's a global issue, it's a global problem. And of course, like always in startup world, nothing comes easy. It takes a lot of persistence and kind of determination if you start moving towards something bigger than yourself. And I realized that it's not going to be easy to start just kind of like taking some technology and then you kind of think that, okay, I'm able to fix the world like this. It's not working like that. So the first kind of bump in the road became from the Finnish law. So in Finland, the fundraising law is one of the tightest in the world. So that was kind of like the first barrier when I realized that, okay, I cannot build that kind of incentivizing system in Finland, because we simply cannot have NGOs on our system who are supporting and helping these women and girls, because they have to be registered in Finland. So the first thing that we had to do is to kind of figure out the different way of helping and supporting these women and girls. And it led to us creating the prototype. It's simple, just a WordPress site, and we decided to just test how we can arrange a place for girls in school. So we did our first pilot testing with that, and we managed to get 3 girls in the school from India.
Wow.
And that was very good thing for us, and we are happy and proud about that. And one thing that has been kind of key in what we are building is to understand those who would be using it, who we are trying to help actually. And for that, I started doing research and interview NGOs that are helping women and girls here in Finland. And I started asking their needs, what kind of problems they face in fundraising, what kind of needs they have. And they actually came up with completely different need that I thought that they have, the problems with fundraising, and certainly they have. But the bigger pain was this, that they are facing many women with domestic violence and violence in their relationships, but they don't have resources and people in place to help and support them. So many of the NGOs are kind of the entity that is helping women with violence. And just a record, Finland is actually the second most violent country for women in Europe, which is quite staggering considering how we are perceived as a very
Wow.
gender equal country. And I realized that, okay, if you are having a human-operated chat that's open only a couple hours per week, it means that the need and the offering are not meeting, because many times these women who need someone to help them, it kind of like they cannot be there just to wait for Thursday at 2 p.m. to talk.
Right.
The need might occur in different times and places. And then I started considering that why don't you use artificial intelligence to help and support when you are offline, that they could talk to the with the bot, so that it can, for example, give guidance and support and help meanwhile. So that was the starting point when we started creating and ideating the bot that we are currently building, Aino. And it was a very interesting journey, because also with this idea that we kind of combine these two platforms. So we have tested now the fundraising platform, and now we are concentrating on building forward with the AI tool. And I have realized
Amazing.
with that as well that the most important thing is to talk with people who would be using it. So we are very user-centric. We don't take the technology and try to fit it into their needs, but rather we try to co-create it with those who would be using it. And I realized that it takes time. It's much more time consuming, but it's kind of building the base and the ground for
Right.
what you are trying to create. Because when you are creating a change, when you are trying to help someone, you need to have those people with you who are you building the solution to. And it's not maybe the easiest and fastest way, but from our point of view, it's the only way.
Right. How do you actually go about finding these women then? Because obviously you're in one location, a lot of them are in another location. It can't be easy, in the first place to locate them and then have them have an open and honest conversation about what they're going through and what they really need in order to go through and be comfortable. So how do you actually go about finding the right users for this?
Yes, that was actually a quite interesting part of this whole project, because when we realized that we have to interview those, we call them in Finland, they're called like experts by experience. So there are these women who have suffered from violence and who have survived, and who are then sharing their knowledge, their expertise. They might be training professionals, they might be attending supportive peer groups and so on. And many of these
Right.
women that we have been interviewing are actually the ones who have been openly speaking about what has happened to them. So what I did, I simply contacted them. I told them that what did a research of those who I could find, and then I contacted them. Some of them were kind of given to me by someone that I know who had the network of those people. So it was something that I had to do kind of like on the background, to do the research, find out those people, and then have an interview with them. And in addition to that, we have been partnering with 3 different NGOs who then have helped us also to find those who could speak with us, who could give their expertise and knowledge about the subject.
Amazing, amazing. Anna, what is one thing you would tell, people that are, perhaps they're not in tech, perhaps they're not, currently entrepreneurs, but they have this idea, they have this urge that they want to do something, they want to solve some meaningful problem, but they're facing a similar fear or uncertainty that you experienced before starting this. What would be some things that you would say to them as they go on their journey?
Yes, I would say to them that investigate the feeling and the motives behind it. kind of what is the need, kind of like from your own point of view? Are you doing it from the ego? Is it something that you want to get fame or fortune by doing it, or is it a genuine feeling of wanting to do something, to use your own skills to make the world a better place? Because this is not the easy path. This is kind of like the more complicated path when you start creating an impact, because what I'm very grateful for is that many of those who have kind of gone before me have given such a great advices and ideas for to take into consideration. For example, sometimes your intentions might be very good, but if you don't know the people that you are building it for, it might be that you end up doing more harm than good. So especially when you are considering to help people in completely different cultural, different market that you are not well aware of, there might be some kind of pitfalls that you have to take into consideration before starting doing it. So I would suggest that do a thorough research before you go forward, learn about the subject. Just use your time. It took me the first year to just do the research, to learn about the problem, to understand the people who are having this need, and so on. And only after that I decided to establish a company and so on. So I would suggest that do the research and see if you are still feeling the urge. So when you get deeper down to the rabbit hole, so to say, you can see that is it really your passion, because it takes perseverance. You have to be very determined.
Wonderful. Anna, thank you so much for spending the time with me all the way from Finland. I really appreciate it. Before we leave, I have the most important question, which is 3 words that you would use to describe yourself.
Thank you. Yes, I would describe myself as a bold, visionary path maker.
I love that. I think it shines through this whole episode. So Anna, thank you very, very much. Best of luck with We Encourage and everything that you're doing and the inspiration you're providing for women, to women around the world, and for helping bring both help a lot of millions of women potentially live better and healthier and more sustainable lives, but really just bridging the equality gap that we have and bringing it to the attention of the Western world as well. That I think that's that story that you have with the judges, and not really being able, that ignorance or not being able to really understand or fathom what's happening. I think that's part of the core issues, and I think that beyond the amazing work that you're doing for the women, I think it's such an educational feat that you're taking on here, and that I think it's really inspiring. So thank you, and stay safe and stay healthy.
Thank you. Same to you. Stay safe.
Take care. Bye bye.